Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin,
I'm Craig.
and we don't have that other guy with us today. But Craig, we have something special. We have one of our first new MCU movies we're going to review, and by new I mean it's a year old. It came out a year ago. We jokingly talk about
On time as always.
reviewing MCU movies, the new ones, and it's such a chore to do because one, there's so many of them, and two, they're really bad. So we decided to torture ourselves and watch Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And with all that being said, Craig, what did you think of Ant-Man 3?
Well, not great, but definitely better than some of the other stuff we've had to sit through.
Yeah,
MCU movies.
yeah, it's surprisingly not terrible. Uh,
And maybe it's the fact that I do like Scott Lang, so maybe that has a part in it, but it didn't make me as upset as, like, say, Thor: Love and Thunder.
oh yeah, I mean Doctor Strange 2 was just a disaster.
Yeah.
I think up until this point, the last MCU movie I have seen was Thor: Love and Thunder. I did not see the new Black Panther movie that came out almost 2 years ago. Oh, we
Oh, yeah,
saw
Guardians.
Guardians
That was
3.
okay.
Yeah, we saw Guardians 3. I forgot about that one. We did not see the Marvels. I don't think we're ever going to see the Marvels.
No one saw it.
Oh, well, yeah. Maybe that'll be a fun one. It's under 2 hours. But this movie, I think one of the things I really did not like was the beginning where they're kind of making fun of Scott. So, for the people who did not see this movie, and that was a lot of people, Scott writes a memoir about his life called Look Out for the Little Guy. And it talks about him and his exploits as a superhero, like saving the world and whatnot. And then there's like a joke where they make fun of him saying like, "Oh, really, Scott? You saved the world? I never heard that before." And it's like this guy literally you can't understate how many people he saved. He saved half of all life. Well, technically
And
a rat did, but still. He was the one that figured it was his idea with the quantum realm and whatnot.
yeah, it was his idea for the time heist. He participated in the final battle. I mean, it's a kind of ungratefulness, and it's not like it doesn't sound like he was throwing it in people's faces, like, "Oh, you should do this for me because I saved your life." It was they were coming after him, and he was saying, I did save your life. Why are you attacking me?" Like he
Yeah,
was saying it out of defensively, not offensively.
yeah, and they're mocking him like his achievement was him pushing them out of a road that's they're about to get hit by a car or something. You cannot understate how important this man's contribution was, and here they are just like dumping on him for no reason.
Well, I was gonna say that it's not just that, but the whole like why they're upset with him is because he's so happy with his retirement. But essentially what he's in, he's basically in a retirement. I know he's not that old, but he's kind of retired. He wrote his memoir. He's kind of happy just living his life, being, grateful for the people around him, his new family. And they're attacking him for it. But yeah, Scott, I wish my dad was still a superhero. You're boring. You're just like every other dad, just doing nothing. It's very childish.
And lo and behold, Craig, this one was also written by a Rick and Morty writer, Jeff Loveness.
Wubba lubba dub dub.
I th-
That stupid stuff they say.
I think I forget. So we ripped on a Rick and Morty writer for what's it called? For
Doctor
Doctor
Strange
Strange
too.
2. Yeah, I think this guy was originally supposed to write a new Avengers movie. Ah, I think he got replaced by Michael Waldron. So I think Michael Waldron's writing two Avengers. Oh my God, he is. He's writing Avengers 5 and Avengers Secret Wars.
Did he get
Michael
fired
Waldron.
because of Kang's off the field actions?
I can't imagine he did.
No, no, well, because they have to because now they're trying to get rid of Kang, so they're probably going to rewrite the whole movie now.
I thought they were just going to recast Kang. But you know what?
Oh
We'll get into him later.
well.
That's a whole other thing. This guy's also a Jimmy Kimmel Live writer. Good work, good work. I feel like at this point, I know we talked about this again. I hate to reference our video from almost 2 years ago. But I feel like the MCU just gets some of the worst writers possible on these projects.
I mean, they are the cheapest,
Uh,
I would imagine.
you know what? Probably. So Other things about Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think first and foremost, and this is a problem with many MCU movies, and it's going to sound like a broken record at this point, is the overabundance of CGI. It is distracting. You could tell at this point that they're just on a blue screen. That's all. There's no real actual sets. It's just a blue screen, and it looks terrible. It looks like trash. All the effects in this movie look like trash. It's too much.
Well, it's not even the effects. I mean, I think the suits they were wearing were physical
Oh,
suits. Were they
I think
not?
there's one thing I did want to talk about, and it seems like a minor thing, but it really bothers me is that you know how in the first Ant-Man he has a physical mask that he has to take off.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden the mask can come and the suit can come and go whenever they want. The mask can come and go. It just comes across as
Nanomachines.
yeah, it just comes across as so lazy. Like, oh, we can't even. It's a stupid nanotech stuff. It's like, oh, we can't even be bothered to for Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly, right, to put on a mask for a couple days on set. Like, they can't even
Oh,
be
the mask
bothered
I
to do
get.
that. So let's just
But
CGI everything.
I'm pretty sure they were wearing the actual suits though.
I think they are,
Just not the
unless
masks.
yeah, they don't have the mask on at all. That's all CGI.
Which means it's improvement because Iron Man stopped wearing his suit, I think, in the Avengers.
Yeah, I think in the first two he
Or at
wore.
least Iron Man 3, he stopped wearing it.
Yeah, I think that's when it got like all digital. But he had shoulder pads essentially for Iron Man's suit, and he did have part of the helmet on his face. I don't know. It may seem like a minor thing, but like it loses its tangibility
I
when
hate it
every
too. I hate the machines growing out of it,
yeah
whatever they're
it's
stored.
like if it could come out at any point, it feels so lazy. Like imagine there's a good fight scene where this could be any superhero. They're like fighting this one guy, but they got to conceal their identity, and they have to take off their clothes to put their suit on, right? It's we could workshop that a little bit, but it's the idea like they have to conceal their identity when they're fighting something or trying to go into this big action set piece, but they have to put their suit on. So there's that extra beat. They're like, oh, I gotta get my suit on and whatnot. And now here you press your chest and it just shows up over your clothes.
But that's also, I always think of like the Superman where, he pulls his chest, or not rips his chest open. He pulls the shirt open, reveals
Oh
the ass.
god.
He runs in, he runs into the phone booth, quickly changes. I don't know. It's a classic. I don't know, classic trope, whatever you want to call it. Where I don't know. I
It's
like
like the suit up sequence.
yeah. Because that was at least one of my favorite parts from the Iron Man, at least the first one. It was him actually getting into the suit. It was a process. It wasn't let me just grow some nanomachines out of who knows where and they
Well,
just pop up
imagine
out of
or
nowhere.
not imagine. Remember in the first one also where his suit was almost out of battery, so he like almost took off his mask. He took off one of his gloves, and he still had to fight the Ironmonger at a disadvantage. That's interesting. That's fun. Not even fun. That's like good storytelling too. Like, oh, well, how's he gonna get out of this one? Right? He's at a physical disadvantage. Like his suit, some of his suit is missing. His where he could shoot his little gauntlet out of.
Yeah. I know it doesn't work one to one with the Ant-Man suit, but it's still you just hate seeing the nanomachines everywhere now.
But they're treating it like Iron Man's suit, or it could come on at any point. The mask can come on at any point. Again, it's incredibly lazy now.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I think.
I mean,
Oh, oh, you
I
go.
know we're
Yeah,
not
you
the
go.
only ones. We're definitely not the only ones on this. I definitely feel that other people have a similar dislike for it. If they actually put some thought into it. Maybe, little kids won't know the difference. But I feel that people who, I don't know, have been watching this from the beginning will see this and just not like it. Because I just like the classic. I even think of Tobey Maguire when he pulls open
Oh,
his
the first
shirt.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and you see the almost like his ass, the spider, and he's running into the streets, pulling open his shirt. I know
People
it's
running the
cool.
opposite direction would see that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like it. It's cool.
I have seen other YouTube videos talk about like the MCU has a CGI problem, and like this is to the extreme. They use examples from Spider-Man: Homecoming where you could tell when it's a real suit as opposed to a fake CGI suit because the real suit does isn't skin tight where you could see the collarbone and like the super like the human physique so well like in the comics. But the CGI model you could see everything so clear like the collarbone, his nipples and whatnot. So it's
Well, it's not even just you say it's everybody. It's Spider-Man, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Black Panther, 'cause his mask, he had the same thing. His
oh yeah, they
vibranium's
they
coming out
got
of
rid of
nowhere.
that stupid the physical mask you had in Civil War.
The
It
nanomachine, son.
Yeah, it's just so they don't want the actor's face covered. Even though, ironically, it's not about the actor; it's more about supposed to be the superhero. And now it's like reversed for the MCU movies, where it's more about like they're trying to have more star power, even though it really should be about the character.
And I know the actors will complain, "Oh my God, the what I have to wear on my head it's heavy, it gets hot in there." Well, guess what? You're being paid millions of dollars to play pretend. I think you can suck it up.
Did you know that Tobey Maguire was like stitched into the Spider-Man suit?
Really?
He had to be stitched in. Michael Keaton couldn't turn his head in the Batman suit. Like, I don't want to hear anything about helmets from those two had it the worst.
Well, because I remember Thor's actor, he complained, "Oh, it gets really hot wearing the helmet." It's like, so?
Did he not see like what Michael Keaton had? He couldn't even hear half the time.
Or I think Loki's actor, he said that his was heavy. It was like 15 pounds or something.
That's like a helmet. I
But
think
still,
I think
hmm.
Paul Bettany as Vision had it the worst, where he was just painted, and then he was in that. He's essentially like not stitched in, but he had this giant suit around him. But they had like cooling tubes in it to cool him down and whatnot.
And
But
it's
I
funny.
would hate to be
I think he
painted.
complained the least.
Yeah, well, he was just grateful. I think he said in an interview. And we were going a little bit off topic, but it all circles back to the overabundance of CGI and how it just looks like trash in this movie. I hated Cassie in this movie, and they
Oh, she was
recasted her
awful.
from Endgame for whatever reason.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't even notice.
I only knew about it because I remember people were making a big deal about it. Yeah, she is absolutely terrible. I hate. I think we talked about this before, Craig. I hate child geniuses, and I know she's 18,
No,
but
she's younger, I think.
no, I'm looking at Wikipedia. It says she's 18
Oh, I thought she was like 17 or 16.
because Hope, Scott, and what's his face?
Hank.
Yeah, Hank. I can't believe I forgot his name. While they were gone, she started teaching herself like laws of science.
Very, well, not even just very advanced physics and whatever biochemistry, whatever that Hank worked on. She taught herself in such a short amount of time. And
Well, I think it
this
was
was,
5 years, but still, she was a child when she started.
but this is very advanced stuff. I mean, Hank's notes on the PIM technology, it's not public knowledge. You can't just sit there and Google or open up ChatGPT and explain it to me. I mean, you're entirely unearned. So if there's any roadblock, you're kind of screwed. And the fact that she just understands it perfectly and builds a satellite just for the fun of it to see if she could is stupid.
The fact that it seems like she knows more about the quantum realm than Scott is crazy because Scott's been in it twice up until this point in time in the movies. I He physically works with the pim particles. Like I feel like he should know more
I
than
mean, also
definitely
you
his
think he would have
daughter.
learned about stuff since he was working with Iron Man, trying to do the time heist.
Yeah,
Considering the fact he was probably the only
or
person, the
with
resource they
Scott too,
had.
Craig. Not Scott,
What?
Hank. When he's working with Hank too.
No, I'm saying Scott, he has the most experience with it. He's worked close with Iron Man. He's his only resource exploring the time heist with the Pym particles. You'd think he would have learned something.
Craig, I thought so too, but apparently she's a super child genius. She kicks off the main plot where she uses that quantum realm satellite where it what's it called? It like makes a signal to the other side, and then they all get sucked in. And at
I,
first I thought, oh, what were you about to say?
I do want to say that I don't like how they're always trying to make Scott so stupid. I know he's a goofy guy, but he's supposed to be smart. I mean, like I said, he has a master's in electrical engineering, but for some reason he's always the dumbest person in the room, no matter who's in it.
Even though again, he lived through the quantum realm. He survived it in the first movie. He's navigated through it. I think he should definitely know more about it. Yeah, but he's just treated
Because
like an idiot.
I remember in the first one, he was smart, but obviously Hank's a genius.
Well, even in the
Uh,
first one though, before you continue, he figured out a way to like then he like what was it? The safe that Hank had, he figured out how to put like ice through it to crack it. It was I haven't seen that movie in a while, but it was a pretty
but yeah,
clever way of breaking in or destroying the safe at least. Like he's not a smooth brained moron who eats glue.
in drooling all the time.
Yeah, they do such a disservice to him in this
I get it. He's
movie.
not a genius, whatever, but now he's getting upstaged by his own daughter because she can basically has the ability to read. Oh, I read the books. I understood it perfectly. Like, what was this?
Yeah, I could read a textbook on high level physics. I would not understand a single thing about it. I can read too.
Reading
Yeah,
and comprehending are two very different things, but apparently it's all one and the same to these writers.
it's a Rick and Morty writer, Craig. So they get sucked in the quantum realm, and then, well, I should mention that before this happened, not Hope. Oh, Janet was like screaming like a wild chimp, like to shut it down, and she never explains why until they get sucked in. Then there's the whole exposition dump that.
Well, even
Well,
then, it took her a while to talk about it, which I find very odd. I don't like when stories are the conflict arises from someone's refusing to talk. Like if she just gave this convert like a brief overview, there's things down there we don't want to communicate with them. All right, fine, we don't have to. I
yeah.
believe you.
So they have to navigate through the quantum realm now. They get separated, and the quantum realm is this giant blue screen that thousands of CGI artists slaved away and got paid very little and didn't get paid overtime
Are we
to
getting enough
create.
credit?
Yeah. And the rest of the movie is just kind of a blur. I think it's very forgettable, aside from two things. Well, three things. First off, one of those things in the quantum realm, the guy who had like a spoon head that was like a Duracell light up battery. You know who I'm talking about, right? The guy was like a Cyclops.
Yeah, we got shoot beams from his head.
Yeah, that guy was cool. That guy was cool. The second thing is obviously Kang, which we'll talk about in a little bit, a little bit. And the third thing is MODOK. I I can't believe they bring this guy back. And everyone clowned on MODOK's appearance, and rightfully so. It looks like they just in Photoshop took the actor's face and put it into MODOK's body without considering proportions. It looks very
Well, it's kind of.
weird.
Well, yeah, Moto would always look weird. I think
I
in live
Yeah, I
action.
think the what they should have done is they should have just used the faceplate that he had over and just had that. I think
I mean,
having
did they
this
have to bring back Scott or Yellow Jacket? Or not Scott, MODOK or Yellow
yeah,
Jacket?
having this hyper realistic face on a cartoonish body was such a miscalculation. I think he should have just looked cartoony. Like his face should have looked cartoony. I think that would have looked better. I don't think the hyper realistic face with the cartoon body worked. And then of course they make those stupid jokes about instead of just being disgusted by what they're seeing, they're like trying to make jokes at this thing. I would even if I saw that in real life, Craig, I don't even know what I would say. I'd be
Well, it's like
disgusted.
it's body horror. I mean, this guy survived somehow getting sent to the quantum realm, all disfigured. He's basically just a severed head, and they give him a new body. It's closer to body horror, but of course, got to make everything a joke.
Yeah, I'd be terrified looking at that creature, essentially.
But also the fact that Yellow Jacket was still alive reminds me of Darth Maul, where this guy clearly should be dead,
Oh yeah.
but somehow survives.
Well, I think
Somehow Palpatine returned.
yeah, those are two different ways as to why someone survived. I think this one, they're like, well, we have MODOK. Who can we? Well, we don't want someone new as MODOK. Who do we have? Oh, well, we could say Yellow Jacket survived somehow, even though he like got terribly disfigured. Excuse me.
I mean, you
The
don't
Darth
have
Maul
to
thing. Oh,
have.
you continue.
Well, you don't have to have him be a character we know. He could just be some generic henchman. I
Yeah,
mean, he had tons of those already.
yeah, that'd be preferable too. But I guess they want to tie it all together. Even though it's a movie universe, doesn't make any sense. But real quick, the thing with Darth Maul that's so weird is that in the first movie he's just some guy, and now he's just some guy that look cool, and all the weird Star Wars fans were obsessed with this guy. And I know George Lucas didn't bring him back, but I think they brought him back in that cartoon TV show. And now he has like robot legs.
Yeah, because it wasn't the first Clone Wars show, it was the second one.
Yeah, it was the CGI one, not the cartoon. It's people from our Star Wars fans have this weird obsession with people who look cool, and movies do nothing with them. So they have like all that headcanon stuff, and then the new generation of creators do something weird with them. I don't
I
know,
just
it's
don't like
stupid.
all these guys who clearly should be dead. And so it's like, oh, somehow he survives.
Oh, I
Because
one yeah, you go.
you see him in the quantum realm, he was just a head, a severed head.
I don't know how that guy
Uh,
was breathing.
yeah, like what is he breathing? His lungs aren't there.
He was breathing on hate, Craig. The hate kept him alive.
Peter said he would die,
I
so he survived.
was also going to say real quick that I forgot to mention this earlier that a big problem with these MCU movies is that they're all interconnected now with the shows. So if you don't watch the shows, you're not going to know what's happening. And this movie doesn't have too much of that until the end credit scene where I didn't know what
But
was going on.
yeah, but that doesn't bother me as much because that's the teaser. You can just look that up. It's not really a big deal.
Well, I'm saying like some of the other movies in the
Oh yeah,
MCU
yeah. Well,
are
that's
like
true.
they hinge on it. Like the Marvels, for example, you have to watch Miss Marvel, and then you have to rewatch the first Captain Marvel because nobody watched that or nobody remembers that.
Wasn't her partner Monica Rambeau in the
I think she was in the
WandaVision
first.
show?
Yeah, so it's like you have
So
to
you have to
watch
watch
two
that too.
shows, and you have to watch the movie to know what's going on.
Like I understand at some point these are sequels, so you should watch the stuff that comes before it, but the TV shows are a bigger commitment because you're not just sitting there watching a 2 hour movie every couple of months. You're watching what, like an 8 hour show every couple of months plus the movies.
Well, you can't even binge it if you're watching it when it comes out. You have to dedicate a day, or not a day, like an hour every week to get the full season. So it's not like you could just bang it out in like 2 days.
Well, yeah, I'm
Maybe.
just saying it's a bigger time commitment.
Oh, well,
There's
yeah, yeah,
more stuff year round. I know
yeah.
you have to watch everything immediately, but still, just it's a larger commitment to keep track of everything.
And I guess now, Craig, should we just talk about the giant elephant in the room that is, I think, in prison right now?
Is he? Let's
Uh,
see, is our boy in prison?
oh, well, as of this recording, his sentencing is set for February 6th. So not as of this recording, but probably when episode is out. So yes, Jonathan Majors as Kang. I think a lot of people were praising his performance. Now, for the sake of this, of what we're gonna say, let's just take what happened with the actor out of it. Let's just talk about Kang himself. He's okay in the movie. I saw a lot of people praising him, saying like, "Oh, well, he's the new face of the MCU." And to that, it feels almost desperate that they're trying to hype this guy up so fast. And then he gets beaten at the end of this movie. I think he gets beaten in Loki, the TV show. So, how do you hype up somebody, or how do you make somebody such a big threat, but they've gotten beaten twice already? Explain that, Craig.
It's a terrible thing to hinge the future of your cinematic universe on, but what do I know? I'm not Kevin Feige. You're saying he was okay. I really didn't think he was. I'd say he's a step below okay because they're trying to make him sympathetic, but
He's literally
he's.
killing like billions or something, right?
It just felt weird. He was talking about, yeah, I've wiped out timelines, but ooh, feel bad for me. It's like, you gotta kind of pick a side. Thanos was not really sympathetic, but he was more.
You can understand why he was doing what he was doing.
Yeah, and he's kind of had this charisma with him because he was so convicted. This guy doesn't really have any of that.
He's honestly like kind of mopey for
Well,
most of the movie,
also
like he was feeling bad for himself. Not, I shouldn't say that, but he was just kind of like,
they kicked me out, and I want back at
yeah.
them. And they kicked him out because he was wiping out timelines or multiversal nonsense. So I was trying to stop timelines from incursions and all this stupid stuff.
Even though the Avengers did that themselves, but what do I know?
Oh, I think I don't know if it was Loki or I forget where someone said, well, it was supposed to happen, so it's okay.
With the timeline incursions.
Yeah, when the Avengers do it, it's okay. When Kang does it, right, but he crossed the
Yeah.
line there.
When Captain America, like visibly disrespects the rules that he was told, it's not a big deal at all. it's it's satisfactory.
It was meant to happen.
But again, I know. So there's different forms of Kang. This isn't the same Kang, to my understanding, that appears in Loki. It's a version of him, right?
That's the other problem. There's so many different Kangs to keep track of now.
Well, the end credit scene. But there's two, right? Weren't there two end credit scenes?
Yeah, and they all
One
had
was a
Kang in
Loki
them.
time. Oh, one was a Loki end credit scene where Loki and Lightning McQueen they
Wow.
spot out Owen Wilson. They spot out Kang from a crowd. He's like, "That's him." I was like, "I don't know what any of this means. What's the significance?"
Yeah,
And then,
it,
yeah, then they had like a whole bunch of them at the other end credit scene
which again, it's just going to make it more complicated because I don't know.
because it says right here the one that appears in Loki is He Who Remains, but
What does that mean?
He's
He
Kang the
remains where?
Conqueror, or Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then he appears as Victor Timely in Loki season 2. I don't
Okay.
know. I think it's just too confusing for their own good, and I think as a whole, and I see a lot of people agreeing with this too. The multiverse is incredibly lazy. I know I keep saying lazy a lot, but that's how it comes across. There's no creativity. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of effort put into it. It's like, oh, we can do anything with the multiverse because there's no set rules. We can make them up as we go along.
Which is always a sign of disaster impending because
Yeah,
at
because
some point,
yeah,
nothing's going to make sense. No one's going to care.
rules are going to intersect with each other. Pre-established rules are going to or mesh.
It's already happened.
Oh yeah, but with what's it called? What was I about to say? Oh yeah, Kang in the movie, he gets beaten at the end. And I don't know what they're going to do for Avengers 5 now because it's no longer called the Kang Dynasty. But it's just like I don't know what they were thinking in the planning. I don't know how far ahead they planned or like how extensive their planning was. Whose idea was it to have your big bad villain of these new phases lose?
Whoa,
At
whoa,
least to my
whoa.
knowledge,
He didn't
twice.
lose. A variant of him lost. Get it right.
What's the difference?
Well, he died. A different Kang's going to take his place. I don't know which one.
The Kang in this one died?
Yeah, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, he dies,
Oh yeah, he does
right?
die.
Yeah, he didn't just lose. They killed him.
Oh yeah, he died. He died like a punk. I forgot about that. So yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. You're probably right with the different variants, where maybe it'll be something like, again, this is even if they do Kang because of Jonathan Majors, let's just say legal issues, putting it very mildly. Or you know what? No, for his domestic abuse.
Allegations.
Let's call it as it is. Gotta call a spade a spade. I guess where they're
He's
going to
only
be like each
34? Jesus.
each variant will probably learn. It'll be like some kind of algorithm that learns upon its past mistakes, I think. So it's probably going to get so ridiculous to the point where they're going to make Kang like omnipotent because he learns from the past variant's deaths or something. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know. I think they were just gonna send a generic Kang, and it's like, oh, you guys killed one Kang. Well, I'm here to stop you. Blah 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 blah. Doctor Strange is a threat. Blah blah blah.
So what's stopping all the Kang variants from just getting together and teaming up? Are they at odds with each other? Like, what's the word I'm
Well,
looking for?
in the movie, they weren't. It seems like they were all kind of on the same page, except for the one in Quantumania, because he was exiled.
Yeah.
Remember, we also saw the Kangs cheering in the audience. They look terrible. Especially that one who's like really excited.
I vaguely remember that. I know we watched this like 2 weeks ago, but was it 2 weeks ago?
Something like that.
I vaguely
Well,
remember that.
there's that one in the audience who's like really. Can I share some stuff to you?
Oh, you could try.
Yeah, well, just that the one guy in the audience was a little too excited.
Did you find it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could try.
But still, it just.
This is important. I have to see this. What'd you type up so I can find it quick? Oh God, no. Oh my God, what is this?
It's not the GIF. I just found the picture of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the guy's a little too excited.
Oh, there's one meme that says the shampoo bottles in the shower watching me win an imaginary fight. Oh yeah, I do remember that. Oh my God, it's so funny.
Now I'm looking at this photo. There's one guy in the background who looks like he's looking at the guy who's a little too excited. Like, dude, calm down.
Uh, it's so funny. Oh yeah. I pulled up the video. So going back to my original point, so they're all, like you said, they're all in the same team except the one that was exiled. So what's stopping them from just teaming up and going after the Avengers?
Uh, Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I doubt they'll really express it in the whatever movie that comes out. They'll say, oh, only one can come in because, oh, the universe will collapse if like five of us come or whatever.
But there's already like the whole council of them together.
Like I said, I don't think it'll make sense. And you're 100% right. Why don't they all just go and like team up and kill all of them? But they'll probably come with a stupid reason, so I'm not going to even pretend to think that there's any sort of consistency.
Yeah, I think the future of the MCU has never looked, or excuse me, has never looked murkier. Because I know,
See, if you said it never looked darker, well, I'm pretty sure the girl he beat eyes might be darker.
oh, Craig. All right. God, good Lord.
That's staying in.
Yeah, I'll keep that in. What's wrong with you?
Hey, I'm
So,
not the one who worried about abusing people.
so I think an appropriate way. Well, I guess before I say what I say, do you have any final thoughts on Ant-Man 3?
Well, we kind of like we could just skip to the end, but there was that whole middle part where they're trying to get acquainted with the people who live there, and they kind of have a revolution
Oh,
overthrow Kang,
yes,
which is
yes.
a big part of the movie that I guess I didn't really care about.
I think because we watched it together, I remember saying like, "This is so pointless. You don't know anybody here," and that may sound like cold-blooded, but the fact is, why are you risking yourself? You have bigger problems than these people that you know nothing about. You don't know. They could be lying to you about everything. You don't know.
They're essentially aliens. I mean, if you 'cause they know nothing, absolutely nothing about them. They have no idea where they are, how anything works. And that's the thing too. Cassie's going after Scott. Scott saying, "Let's get our family and let's try to get out of here because we have no idea where we are. We have no idea what we're doing." He goes, "Yeah, that's the problem with you, Dad. You don't want to help anybody anymore."
Yeah, it reminded me of the thing I hated so much about Spider-Man: Far From Home was Peter going out his way to help these stranger villains, even though he had no obligation to do it. He shouldn't have done it. They're strangers. They're villains. He knows they're bad. it was like that, but in this movie it was so much worse in this movie because it was just like it was ridiculous. And
I see,
yeah,
I think Spider-Man was worse because he was sending them back in time right before they died. So his he didn't really help them at all. He just prolonged their
well, that
lives a
too.
bit.
Yeah, that too. Craig, he sent them back, and they felt good when he sent them back right before they they died.
Because then Doc Ock come out wet, so he's gonna go right back where the sun is. He's still gonna die.
But I think the problem with this one is that I just hated the daughter being like so condescending to Scott, just
Yeah,
like
again, like
berating him for no reason.
he's put his time in as a hero. He's essentially in his retirement, and she's upset that he's retired. I guess she loses like full points at school.
I think he would know. He's lived the superhero life. He's seen. I wouldn't say he's seen the lows, but he's seen the highs. This man was trapped for 5 years.
No, it's only a
Well, for in the timeline, those 5 years, he said it was like 10 seconds or 5 minutes, whatever. He lost 5 years of his life, like
yeah.
everybody else. Yeah, I guess we did kind of forget about that. That whole that was like the whole second act of the movie.
That was the worst part of the movie, having to deal with Janet and all them, like, oh, my Janet's old friends or whatever, her old freedom fighters.
Yeah, that was kind of bad.
Like, Janet, you abandoned us. Well, yeah, she did. Also, I didn't like because Cassie was put in the movie just because they want to make a Young Avengers movie, but we've talked about that over again, why that won't work. They age out of it very quickly. But besides that, for some reason, she's the only person able to rally the freedom fighters to attack Kang. Some they have no idea who she is. Don't know. She's not famous. She's not a superhero. She's done nothing significant. But she goes, "Hey guys, we should fight Kang." And everyone shows up and fights Kang.
Yeah, I did
Very
forget about
cliched.
that. That was pretty bad. And I guess this point we'll go with the future of the MCU with the Young Avengers, but yeah, I don't know why they'd be listening to some stranger who doesn't even really look like them. They all look like aliens, and then she looks like a person.
But and she's just saying, "Hey guys, Kang is mean. We should fight him." It was that easy.
I'm sure they tried. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Just so we can set up in 20 years we'll set up the Young Avengers movie.
Well, yeah, a big problem with the Young Avengers movies is obviously these movies take like 2 years, a year and a half to make. So if they want like they'd have to film nonstop to get 3 movies out, let's say, of this young cast before they really, really age. Because if we look on Wikipedia, the actress who played Cassie is 26 years old already,
Jeez.
turning 27 in a couple of days. So, don't think that'll really pan out for a Young Avengers where she's supposed to be 19 maybe and she'll be 30 by the time the movie comes out.
But not just her. What's her name? Ugh.
The Hawk Girl?
Yeah, she's also, I think, around the same age. Kamala Khan, I think she's younger. America Chavez, same thing. I mean, they're gonna age out of the role pretty quickly for a young, because they're when they say young, they don't mean young adults. They mean specifically teenager, like Spider-Man. Even him, he's not that young anymore either.
And Tom Holland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, for a young Avengers movie, he's not old. He's obviously not, in his 70s. It's just this is supposed to be more like teenagers coming together to be heroes, and they're nowhere close to teenagers.
Yeah, they're all gonna be like in their 30s for the Young Avengers. I don't even know if that's still in the plans. Maybe that'll be like a Disney Plus TV show.
I mean, they've talked about it.
Well, I know they definitely are trying to have the breadcrumbs to set it up. It'll probably won't ever happen because maybe they're realizing like, wow, everyone's aging so fast.
Actually, if I'm remembering this correctly, I think that was one of the end credit scenes for the Marvels. I think it was female Hawkeye and Kamala Khan talking about they should team up.
Oh man.
Let me double check that.
Stat that.
Yes, I was right.
Oh no.
They should seek out young heroes and form a new group with Kate Bishop.
Ugh, sounds terrible. So I'm looking at this list of movies, Craig, for the MCU and what's slated. So right now we have Deadpool 3, which I actually think is going to be a disaster. I think because if you look at the cast, yeah, they brought back Hugh Jackman. They brought back Jennifer Garner as Elektra, so she's reprising her role from the Daredevil movies of the early 2000s.
And nobody remembers.
So the thing that's so strange to me is that I think Deadpool 3 will probably feel desperate because it seems like it's pulling from all other stuff from the multiverse and they're using the multiverse as their crutch. And I think it's going to be too on the nose with its like their jokes. I don't know. I know they said
Well,
it's
that's
going
just
to be
lazy writing.
well that too. It's going to be rated R, and I think that Marvel is hoping that that will draw in people like, oh well, we're not kiddie anymore. We're going rated R route, and I think it's going to fail spectacularly. I know there's a lot of hardcore Deadpool fans, so they'll probably show up for that, but I don't know. I think it's going to feel desperate, like all these recent MCU movies. I don't know. That's how I
Well,
feel.
you just listed the official cast. I've seen so many more rumors where I think they're talking about bringing back Picard and Magneto and a bunch of other. I think they're talking about bringing back Cyclops too.
Oh my god, just so they can do him dirty again.
Probably. So they expect there to be tons of cameos, and of course Deadpool will wind up in the MCU.
Yeah. Now we got Captain America: Brave New World. I have not seen any of those shows. Falcon and Winter Soldier, I have not seen at all. I think the weirdest thing is that I don't know if you know Craig, but the character who played Ross, Secretary Ross, William Hurt passed away maybe a year or two ago. So what do the geniuses at Marvel do? They hire somebody that's 10 years older than him, and they brought in Harrison Ford as Secretary Ross. Now I don't know if they're going to do the
President
red
Ross.
whatever resident. Is that what it is now?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
going to turn into the
president.
Red.
Oh,
He's going to turn
yeah.
into the Red Hulk. That's what all the rumors keep saying.
That'd be so weird.
I don't know why they want this 80-year-old man running around as the Hulk. I mean, do we have Hulk? We have She-Hulk. We have Hulk's son for some reason. Do we
And we
really
have
need more?
Hulkling.
Wait, no, that was Hulk's son, right?
I don't know. I remember Hulkling.
No, I was talking about in the MCU.
Oh,
You have Abomination. I mean, don't we have enough Hulks running around already?
yeah, they're all the same.
Well, that's also part of the problem.
Then we got Fantastic Four. I don't think anyone's been casted yet, but that's supposed to be coming on 2025. That's part of the Phase 6.
Phase 6, right? Nothing's happened in Phase 4 or 5.
Yeah. So let's recap real quick. This is the multiverse saga. It began with Black Widow,
Which
and
is a really odd choice because Black Widow
well, that
really
movie
should be
came
in
out like 6 years too late.
that too. It should have come out at the when Captain Marvel came out. That time slot.
Then we had Shang-Chi, The Eternals, which I did see, but it's very forgettable. Spider-Man: No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. That's all Phase 4. And now Phase 5 is like a whole big nothing.
You're forgetting all the millions of TV shows.
Well, yeah. I'm sure those TV shows like try to connect everything to the best of their ability. But what's so weird looking at Phase 5, is that Guardians had nothing to do with the rest of these movies. They're like their own thing.
Yeah, it was basically just a send off.
Yeah, because it's not building to anything bigger. Like I mean, Ant-Man introduced what's his face? Kang. I don't know who the villain was in the Marvels. I have no idea.
Who cares?
I don't know who the villain's going to be in Deadpool 3, but it'll probably be its own thing. And we can only assume that for Captain America: Brave New World, it's going to be the Red Hulk. Now, Craig, if you are in charge of Marvel and you're doing a Fantastic Four movie, do you make Doctor Doom the villain for the first movie?
I mean, I feel like you really can't. I don't. I wouldn't, to be honest.
Hmm. I think maybe if they're reworking everything, they could introduce Doctor Doom at the end of Fantastic Four movie and maybe make him the villain for Avengers 5.
I just feel with Doctor Doom, because you do an origin story, you want to fight someone. I don't know, not like your arch rival so soon. You kind of want to fight someone lesser to kind of build up to your arch
Didn't they
rival.
already do Super Skrull though in that terrible secret invasion show?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so they can't even do Super Skrull if they wanted to.
Well, did they do the Super Scroll or a Super Scroll? Because there's the Super Scroll Kalert, who is the one who fights the Fantastic Four. I think they just had generic Super Scrolls.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know my stuff, which is why none of this is making any more sense. I know there's like I saw the shows that Echo show, which was terrible.
I don't know if I mentioned this, Craig. We have a Thunderbolts movie coming out after Fantastic Four.
Yes, to capitalize off the success of Suicide Squad like 5 years later.
Is it like a Suicide Squad thing?
Yeah, it's a bunch of bad guys being put in a very dangerous mission.
Oh, lame. Then we got Blade coming out after Thunderbolts.
Laser.
And then there's Avengers 5 and then Avengers Secret Wars. Again, there's no main overarching villain because he's probably going to prison. But I guess big picture, what are they building towards? Because at least after the end of Phase 1, you knew Thanos was the big villain. He was going to appear later on somewhere, but you knew he was the guy pulling the strings.
But not just him, you were setting up what he wanted, the Infinity Stones. They
Yeah,
already been setting that up.
yeah. I mean, the first stone appeared in Thor, right? No,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
yes, Thor.
Chronologically in the movies, not timeline wise. Yeah, because they had two Infinity Stones in the Avengers, the Mind Stone and the Tesseract. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
but
There you go.
like you said, they were setting up, but they were doing like, they were trying to tell stories about the heroes, but also trying to involve the Infinity Stones when they could.
Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know.
yeah, this is just so bad now.
Well, yeah, because now we have no idea what the goal is. Oh, some people are going to invade our universe and we'll stop them. Okay, that doesn't have to be a whole, I don't know, 24 movie saga. That sounds pretty quick.
I wish I could see a list of shows.
Because that was the great thing about the Infinity Saga, if we're going to call it that. We also knew what the Infinity Stones did because we saw them used in the previous movies.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like set up and payoff, right? We knew what they did, so we don't have to worry about, except for the Soul Stone, but I don't think that one was really used.
Well, that was also a plot point in Infinity War. It was like,
Oh
well,
yeah,
no
because they
one's
never got
seen
around
it
to.
except Gamora, and that's why she made Peter make that promise saying, like, you can't let him get me. Please kill me.
Well, yeah, but well, the point is they introduced 5 out of 6, close enough. For this, what are they really introducing? The multiverse, which I feel like is making
Makes
less
no
sense as it
s
goes
Yeah, it
along.
makes no sense. The multiverse.
And how
It's
does
it's a disaster.
I don't know how some of these like stuff ties in. Like, what does an Agatha Harkness show have to do with the overall saga?
Well, that was, I believe, WandaVision. So is Vision ever coming back?
I mean, there's the White Vision running around.
Yeah. He'd be a pretty useful asset to your team. I mean, he's like CGI fully anyway. You don't even need the actor on set.
A great story for another time. Well, you were talking about the Vision. Didn't the Eternals, wasn't the Celestial coming out of Earth and no one's ever brought it up? That there's a Celestial in Earth?
I don't
And he's,
remember
and he's
that.
climbing out of the planet?
I do not remember that.
Well, because I've always seen memes where how come no one talks about the fact there's a hand rising out of the ocean? Sounds like a pretty big deal, but apparently that's no one wants to bring that up.
So for Avengers 5, it was originally supposed to start filming now, but everything changed because Jonathan Majors had to go commit some crimes.
Also, didn't the actor strike not help?
Well, yeah, that delayed everything, but what really delayed everything were the
And
crimes. Yeah,
it was crimes. He was convicted.
Michael Waldron was hired to replace Jeff Loveness. I don't know if that's a better move. I don't know. Uh, let's see. Yeah, nothing's known about Avengers 5. It's going to come out in 2026. So that's all we know so far. It was called the Kang Dynasty, as I said earlier, but now no one knows.
Oh, and they're bringing back Daredevil as a TV show, which
I thought they're going to bring that back as a movie.
that's a TV show. And I heard that they fired a lot of the writers because they basically are trying to recreate the Netflix show now, as opposed to a new thing.
Oh,
Which,
great.
I mean, the Netflix show was good. He never saw it, but me and Daniel loved it.
Yeah, I know it's well liked. I can only imagine if we listened to our very first episode where we talked about our Endgame. Was it Endgame, right? And we're like, I don't know if we were so hopeful about the future, but I think we all kind of said like we're done. We
And
don't
you
really.
keep pulling us back in.
Well, I mean, like if the movies were competent, I wouldn't care. But the fact that it has become such a degraded product now, it's kind of interesting to watch it just destroy itself. It's like combusting on the inside.
The combustion engine.
Yeah, it's destroying itself because it's just oversaturation. It's like the great video game crash of the 80s, Craig, where there's too much stuff
Over
coming out.
too much low quality stuff coming out.
Yeah. Too much trash coming out that no one cares anymore. And then they just destroy themselves.
Because people have been trying to predict the end of the superhero genre for years. They've always trying to say, "Oh, it's going to end. It's going to end." Of course, it's going to end at some point, but I don't think it's from a lack of from too many movies or people can't keep track. Well, I do think that's an issue. I think it's just they aren't good anymore. They're making, junk, and people don't want to watch junk. They want to watch something good.
Yeah. I mean, movie tickets are expensive as it is. I don't imagine anyone's going to be wanting to spend their money on trash
Also,
willingly.
like multiple viewings too. Remember, we saw like the first Avengers like two or three times.
Yeah, it's true. I think I saw Infinity War twice.
Yeah, it's not
I
like
think
that
I saw
anymore.
Endgame twice. I don't remember that one. Maybe I saw that once.
I'm pretty sure I only saw that one once because I was not. It was like uneasy. Remember, yeah, yeah, we saw the people crying next to us.
Oh yeah, the one guy could smell him crying. Horrible. Well, I remember Marvel wanted to, or not wanted to. They re-released Endgame, and they included unfinished visual effects of Hulk like saving somebody. And it's like, come on, guys. And people bought, and people want to see that. It wasn't even like a bunch of scenes they added. It was just one.
Yeah, it wasn't like the Lord of the Rings extended cuts where they had like an hour of extra footage. This is what, 10 extra minutes
I
of
think it was. I
unfinished
think it was
CGI?
actually 8.
8 minutes of unfinished CGI?
Yeah. It
They really
wasn't.
don't add anything.
It didn't. Yeah. It didn't even add to the story. It didn't add to anything. It was just Hulk saving somebody.
Was that the only scene? 'Cause that's all I remember was Hulk's bad
I think it
unfinished
was that.
CGI.
Yeah. It's like these are a professional company is releasing a quote unquote unfinished movie back to the theaters.
That's the best part too. You know they have the money to finish that scene, but they were never going to.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Marvel is concerned, like yeah, it really is the death of a superhero genre. Because I know Guardians did fairly well, and I think that had more to do with the fact that like Guardians is always kind of unique in the MCU, and James
Well,
Gunn did it too, so it wasn't like some hack.
yeah, I mean he's been very successful. Well, because he did Guardian, all three Guardians, the Suicide Squad. He might have done something else, but like usually the movies he makes are good enough. You're not going to be like regretting your purchase.
Yeah, I mean he did write the Scooby Doo movies of the early 2000s.
Still like
But
those.
yeah, they're not terrible. But yeah, he did the Suicide Squad. He did the show. What is it? Peacemaker. He did Peacemaker.
Oh yeah, I never saw that.
He's doing. Apparently, it was really good. He's doing Superman Legacy. So I don't know how that's gonna turn out. I'm not a big Superman fan, but if I hear it's good, I might check it out. Who knows?
Oh, don't forget the death of the DCEU.
Oh, that death was after like two movies. They were on life support for 10 years.
Yeah, but it's officially over.
Well, yeah,
Bury
now
it.
now it's over because
Consider
Aquaman
this
ended.
mercy.
Yeah, Zack Snyder is doing well, right? He released a terrible movie on Netflix.
Which one?
He released terrible movies on Netflix. He's releasing another one soon. But yeah, to go back to our original point about the future of the MCU and how bleak it looks, there's no real direction, and it's oversaturation. There's too much, too fast. It is. I
Well,
don't
too
even.
much nothing.
Yeah, I don't even think they realize. I mean, maybe they do are starting to realize it, but they're just like destroying themselves.
You know what this is like? This is like the Empire, not Star Wars, an empire in history that stretches itself too thin and it can't sustain itself anymore. You know, you're always trying to conquest, get as much movies out as you can, get as much land as you can. Then you realize you stretch yourself too thin, you can't defend all your borders. At some point, you gotta just retreat in.
I think.
They're never gonna retreat. They're gonna like
Yeah, they're
get
gonna run it.
destroyed.
They're gonna run it to the ground. I think they could have been doing a lot better if they never did the TV shows. I think the TV shows are just honestly probably a big part of the problem because the movies are becoming so reliant on the TV shows that no one watches really. I mean, I'm sure they have their dedicated fans. Maybe Disney's lying to you and saying their numbers are really high. Who knows?
You cannot, you will never be able to convince me that the She-Hulk has a dedicated following.
Well, whatever. Excluding that, but it's just you can't make it so reliant on the TV shows. I think it'd work better if it gives you enough info to go on without seeing the TV shows. I should not watch a movie and be lost because I didn't watch some stupid 8 episode miniseries. And maybe you could say like, "Oh well, if you're a real fan, you would do that or whatever." And that kind of misses the point. Like the movie itself is not quote unquote a finished project. I should not have to watch like a TV show to understand this movie. As a whole, the movie should make sense.
See, I'd be okay with the TV shows if it was a lot less of them. Like if you could justify maybe a longer runtime for a TV show.
Yeah.
Like if you were to include maybe Daredevil as a TV show instead of a movie, fine. Daredevil's a big character. You can sustain a TV show, but do you really need a She-Hulk TV show, a Miss Marvel, a Moon Knight? Remember Moon Knight?
Oh yeah. Are they even doing a season 2 of that?
I have no idea. Like I get the Harkest show, a Loki show. I mean, that stuff's just nonsense.
Yeah. I
Secret
mean,
Invasion. I mean
well, that was a disaster.
that could have been a TV show, but like I said, it was an absolute disaster.
I heard some of the stuff they did in that show was just crazy in all the worst ways imaginable. Yeah, I think it's just too much, and the MCU is destroying themselves. I'm curious to maybe see Deadpool 3. I'm not looking forward to it.
We'll see. What I'm curious, I do kind of follow the MCU just reading spoilers. Like, oh, that's kind of dumb. I'll move on. But so let me drop this on you. After the multiverse saga, where could they possibly go? Like, what's their next saga? Like phase 7, 8, 9.
I don't know. Okay, so let's think let's think big. They already did the Civil War timeline, they did the Infinity War timeline. They're doing whatever it is now, like the multiverse.
Like, where could they possibly go that's bigger than, the universe at stake? Now, universes are at
They're doing
stake.
the Secret Wars already, so there's that. I think honestly, Secret Invasion should have been a movie. That should have been one of their Avengers movies.
That would, you see, that make too much sense though.
I don't know why they want to save that for a TV show.
Well, especially again, that's a world-ending event. Like again, it should be a high-stakes movie, but they have Nick Fury just running around with his creepy eye out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not too familiar with the comic book storylines and what was big there.
Well, those are usually like the big storylines, or like Thanos does something that threatens the universe.
Well, I'm talking about like multiple issues, like you know how Civil War was a multiple thing.
Yeah, well, I think Infinity Gauntlet was like the first big cross. Well, actually, it was Secret Wars, but then it was I think Infinity War, Contest of Champions. But a lot of the crossovers aren't as big as you think they are. Like I know there have been some crossovers that involve. I think one of them was just like called Shadowland, where it involved like Spider-Man and Daredevil and a bunch of those other heroes.
What if they do the Masters of Evil from Marvel Ultimate Alliance? I'm
But
sure
again,
they
can
I'm sure they'd butcher that entirely.
oh, of course, but can you stretch that out for 3 phases?
No, I was thinking just an Avengers movie.
Because a lot of the big events, it's like, oh, Avengers versus X-Men, or
They're not going to do that. The Avengers would kill them.
well, wait, also the X-Men don't exist yet.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Yeah, there's not really big stories that I think that they could sustain for 3 phases.
I think they're trying to get their mileage out of the nostalgia of bringing back actors from older superhero movies. Like, I'm not. Don't call me crazy. I don't think anyone cares about Jennifer Garner coming back as Elektra. Like, who
No one cared
cares?
about her movie when it came out.
Yeah, no one could care less. Everyone hated Ben Affleck as Daredevil. I just don't get it. Like, what's? I think there has to be a purpose if you're going to bring a character back. Like, yeah, Hugh Jackman, sure, why not?
Well,
Ryan Reynolds is like
he
good friends with him. Well, who cares?
also, I mean, he's been playing Wolverine for 24
Yeah,
years.
literally 24 years. Who cares? They already brought back Tobey Maguire. They brought back Andrew Garfield. But then when they start bringing back people, like again, who cares about Jennifer Garner? Are they going to bring back the original Fantastic Four? How would that work? Chris Evans is the Human Torch.
I get, I'm gonna bring back Nick Cage as Ghost Rider.
Oh God,
Yeah, man, it's like a flamethrower.
what's it like when you have to pee? Oh, it's awesome. It's like a flamethrower.
Do you think they'll bring back the 2008 Hulk, that actor?
Ed Norton?
Or
That'd be crazy. They actually brought him back.
whoever played the 2003 Hulk? Oh, they
Oh, Eric Bana.
Bring
Yeah.
back Lou Ferrigno, but they
Oh
have
my
to CGI
God.
him.
Yeah. It's just like
Or
I don't
that
know.
really awful Japanese Spider-Man.
Oh God, he shoots ropes at people. Isn't it? Or what if they bring back the '94 Fantastic Four cast?
I, I know nothing about them. Are they even like alive?
I don't know. Wasn't it like a Captain America movie from the '90s too?
Oh yeah, did he steal someone's bike?
I think so.
I remember seeing little clips from there. I think he's like, "Hey, what's it over there?" He just goes on their bike and drives away.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they bring back Patrick Stewart again, like, can you leave the man alone? He looks like he doesn't even know what room he's in.
They keep showing him on those CBS commercials. He looks very old and confused on this green soundstage.
Yeah, I just leave the man alone. Let him die in peace.
Who else could they bring back?
Not a lot of people.
Oh, the Silver Surfer. Remember him?
Of course, I remember him, but
Yeah, but no one remembers that movie.
oh, Galactus. That'd be a big event, I guess,
Yeah,
for a phase.
for a phase, but could you sustain him for three? 'Cause I'm trying to think, what will be the next big bad that they'll set up for movies after
I
movie after movie?
I think it'll be Doctor. Okay, so this is my order. I think they're going to do it. Phase five, I think they're still going to go through with Kang because I think they'll just recast him because they're too. Or excuse me, Phase six. I think
Isn't
they're.
Phase 5 done?
Yeah. Phase no, Phase five is still going on. Yeah, Phase five is still going on. I
What's in
think
it?
Deadpool 3, The Marvels, Captain America: Brave New World. I think they're too
Um,
invested with Kang as a character.
they're too dug in.
They are. So I think they're just going to recast him, act like nothing happened, and he'll be the villain of Phase 6. He'll be in Avengers 5. Maybe Avengers Secret Wars. I doubt it. But I think it's so weird that they have two Avengers movies coming out a year after each other, but with no build up.
You know what's preceding it? Fantastic Four,
Thunderbolts,
Thunderbolt, and Blade.
Blade. Yeah, like Infinity War, it had Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther,
Is
and
Wesley Snipes playing Blade?
no, it's I forget his name. It's not him. I don't know, just a whole lot of trash, a whole lot of question marks. But to go back to the original topic of this video, Craig, yeah, Ant-Man 3, not terrible, but it's bad, it's desperate, it's not well written,
It just
and
it's very obviously sequel baiting. It's not about this movie, it's about the next 20 movies that are coming out, which you could say that's always been a problem. But these are the kinds of movies where it definitely feels you can definitely feel it.
yeah, I agree. With that being said, Craig, would you recommend Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Quantumania?
It's funny, the title's called Ant-Man and the Wasp. That just reminds me, she was barely in the movie.
Yeah, she's not really in it.
'Cause he was like, wait a minute, I don't remember her doing anything in the movie.
Well, would you recommend it?
Of course not.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it either. I don't know why we watched this. I think at the time we were running out of ideas and what to watch. So we're like, oh, this is on Disney Plus. Let's watch this.
Well, you've been trying to get us to watch this for like a year now. You're like, oh, let's watch it.
Well, yeah, because I know it's like it's not unwatchable. So I don't know. Give us something to talk about.
Yeah, but at least wait for it to go to Disney Plus. I mean, I'm not paying for a movie ticket for this.
I know, I know.
I work
Well,
hard to earn my money, and I'm
I'm not
I'm
going to
not
spend it
spending.
on Disney trash.
Yeah, well, why do I want to spend it on this? This is not really worth my time.
So, with all that being said, this has been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I am Colin.
I am not going to jail.
Oh, jeez. And we will see you next time.